Hello. Before we start, I want to show everyone the most interesting comment I've gotten on the last video. For audio listeners, it says "It Witty" from FNF, followed by several exclamation points and pretty much every emoji you could think of. And here's just a random meme I have on my hard drive. No relation to the previous image. Talked a bit about this game last stream. It's called Boomerang X. It's made by Devolver Studios. If you don't know who Devolver Studio is, what's wrong with you? How do they not? It's like a fast game. I don't know what to compare it to. I played Ghost Runner a while back. It's like one of those parkour-y FPS movement games. But this one's gimmick is you have a boomerang. You know, that thing that you throw and it comes back to you. There was an episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy where they had a magic boomerang where it gave them opposite personality traits. Not relevant to the video, just... It's a really good episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy. And I'm going to play it. The runtime's pretty short. Seems like it's like maybe 2 hours long, so it's not going to be a hella long game. But I'm kind of trying to run through all these little fast FPS games. Figured why not pick up Boomerang X. Thank you, Shasha, for the sub. Red Pixel Flame and Piney Bro. Appreciate it. And I have nothing else of interest to say, so I'm just going to play the video game. Hope everyone had a good Tuesday. It's them, it's the people I mentioned. You know, it's funny, I say everyone should know Devolver. Couldn't name another game by them. They published Fall Guys, didn't they? Let's not count that. I mean, I know there are other games, but I couldn't remember them. Thanks, me leaping. 54. Talk about it. That won't work. I was gonna call you a boomerang because you've subbed for a long time, but I could do better than that. I'm sorry. It's also a game where you can have like 130 FPS, which instantly adds a star to any review of a video game. But because I'm streaming it, I don't really want to have it this high because it's just painful to look at. Also, honestly, it's... can't imagine there's that much happening in the game. I need 120 FOV. Funk. They made Katana Zero, The Messenger, and both Hotline Miami games. Devolver made Hotline? I can't believe I didn't know that. I used to love Hotline Miami. The first one. And Hotline Miami 2 exists. You can charge the shot. This is the integral information to know if you are to play Boomerang X. Not that you will, since you have to see the whole game played. It's not a persona. I'm not fighting this battle tonight. It's a vessel for possession. I thought I made that clear. Ease. Thanks, E-Rift. Yeah. I don't know. I had a decent Tuesday. I picked up a book because this is just like how devoid my life is of challenge, I guess. But I picked up a book by Marcus Aurelius, you know, that famous Stoic philosopher. I was at the bookstore. I've just been reading This advice from a guy that lived in 121 AD. I mean, it's pretty by-the-book Stoic philosophy. What I thought was interesting is the fact that Marcus Aurelius is from 121 AD. And he's a pretty notable philosopher, for people who don't know. And it threw me for a loop of, like, holy shit. How long has it been since 121 AD? Like, 190 years. And his lived experience is so different from ours. And then I started thinking, how different would the lived experience of someone in the year like 4000 be from me? And then I started getting jealous, because they probably have way more shit figured out than us. And this went on like 7 tangents. Like, digital footprints are essentially permanent. So like this video, this archived VOD, it might exist 2,000 years from now on some random YouTube backup archive once YouTube eventually dies. As all oligarchs eventually should. Sorry, I'm kind of going off on my own thing here. I turn down my sensitivity. You don't need to do that, Hurricane. That might actually corrupt your PC. Not because they're my VOD. Well, not because they're VODs, but because they're my VODs. I'm gonna like awaken the sleeper agent AI in your computer just through my dribble conversation. Yeah, Ritsu, I love Risk of Rain 2. Been playing the new update, or the relatively new update, and I gotta say, I don't know what genre Risk of Rain 2 would be, if that's like a roguelite, but whatever genre that game is, it's one of my favorites within it. I guess it's a roguelite, because you like find items on each level. I feel like Risk of Rain 2, if you like roguelikes, even you just like the room clearing, Binding of Isaac, dungeon kind of stuff, I still would recommend Risk of Rain. Is fuck. Moving around is so fun. It's super projectile based, so, you know, aim is a big factor. And it has some pretty interesting upgrades. Not as interesting as something like Isaac, but like you can get really high top speeds late game. Link shot to Boomerang. Huh. Been good, Meadwad. I had to paint a wall in my office. I have it like this puke green, but I ran out of paint, so it's only half puke. And that was about my day. I'm doing like some preparation for my next video because I'm trying to maintain some regularity on that. But usually when I put out a video, I spend the few days afterwards just doing, like, not sweating. It kind of helps me not burn out. So, right, that's part of why I'm streaming. It's like, yeah, I could sit down and work on a video, but I've been doing that for the last 3-4 weeks straight. Thought I would just try a new video game I haven't played. Health platforms after taking damage. Like the game's art style, sort of painterly, cartoonish, but it's not so basic. It's like that generic indie look, like, you know, what is it? The polygons that are unsmoothed, that kind of indie game look. Doesn't have that problem. Game is Boomerang. It's pretty what you see is what you get. You run around with a boomerang. But it's fast, which is just an instant sell for me on any game. Damn, that's a cute spider. I almost feel bad killing it. This feels like Titanfall. Yeah, pretty much every game with a high jump is... You know, I only learned about this recently, that the Titanfall 2 servers are being held hostage, sort of akin to how the Team Fortress 2 ones are by hackers, but the Titanfall 2 is being taken down by DDoSers. I always say it wrong. So you almost essentially can't even play Titanfall 2 right now, because the servers are all dead. Briefly, they took down Apex, or they didn't take down Apex, but they like hacked the menu to show like a saved Titanfall website URL. It was depressing. It's depressing that every game with a TF2 acronym is doomed to be held hostage or die or be abandoned by its developers. Titanfall 1 has had that problem for a while, but no one really cared because it's Titanfall 1. It's not as fun as the second. Not as fast. I'm not going to talk shit. I didn't play 1. I just know it was never as popular as 2. Thanks, Butter Twitch without an H. I didn't know that because I just haven't played Titanfall 2 in a couple weeks. I've been jumping between a lot of different games and not really the ones that I like more recently played a lot. So I only learned that today. I looked on like their Reddit and it's all just memes about DDoSers. Because that's like the only active Titanfall 2 community I know of. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. I see that. I hear that. Certified Reddit user. I've been on every forum that has existed in the past 10 years. At least there's not a lot of, at least QAnon didn't originate there. Yeah, people are trying to get the Titanfall devs to fix it, but... yeah. Apex prints money for EA. Think they give a shit about Titanfall. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, so I won't, but if you're curious about Apex Legends, look up what the leaked character is. There's been some leaks on the next what are they called? What does Apex call it? They're Legend. Might be of interest to some of you. That's all I'll say. No, it's not. It's not Cooper, unfortunately. Slow time? Why does every one of these games have to have a super hot mechanic? I'm not complaining about time slow, but it seems a little overdone. I guess that works. It's like a mid-air timing thing. As long as it's not like a big combat mechanic, I can work with that. Missed the static crystal 3 times. I have nothing against time slow. It just feels like a cop-out mechanic when you can't come up with a more interesting way to spice up your combat. Even if I miss, it's really fun being airborne in this game. So I'm just gonna keep taking shots. I feel like I might be overusing the teleport, but don't let me do it if I shouldn't. The bitrate is gonna be dog shit on Twitch, but I'm mostly playing this for me. Have I played Dusk? Oh yeah. It's one of my favorite boomer shooters of the last decade. That game, it has like, I guess, sliding in it? I don't know if it's like I don't know if it has like slide hopping or anything, but Dusk has some crazy fun movement. You can spend the whole game just at Mach 3. I'm gonna cool it on that. I'm gonna play the carnival game of standing still. Yeah, I played Amish-Chevelle. I got stuck on a certain level and gave up. Like I do with half the games I play. I'll tell you one game I won't quit. Nickelodeon All-Stars. I see a lot of people claiming that they're gonna be like Reptar mains. You sort of pseudo-confirmed. I'm just gonna like go ahead and pre-claim it. I think I'm a Korra main. And for someone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, you're probably very confused. But if you use the internet, you probably know. You're on Twitch, you all fucking know. Nickelodeon has like a Smash-type game coming out. There's a trailer. Not everyone's confirmed, but we saw the box art with the characters grayed out. And you can make out Korra in the top left. And kind of Aang right below her. It's hard to tell. So, Avatar characters are pseudo-confirmed. Like, we know 100% Korra's in it. She's on the box art. And we can just assume Aang is too. Okay, so hear me out, guys. Korra is in Smite as a playable skin. Smite has the same tree character from Paladins. Can't remember his name. Grover. Smite has Grover. Paladins has a dwarf character with a TF2 engineer skin. Voiced by, I believe, Grant Goodeve, the actual engineer voice actor. So, engineer confirmed for Nick All-Stars? I don't know if I can confirm it, but I'm keeping my options open. They can't all be diamonds, alright? I have not played the new Ultra Kill update. Layer 4 Greed, but goddamn do I love that game. I was more surprised that Cat Dog has been confirmed, based off of the box art. I won't wear out the discussion because it's pretty thoroughly been discussed, but I would love to see some more like niche Nickelodeon characters show up. Angry Beavers isn't niche, but Kappa Mikey is. He was on Nickelodeon. So, Kappa Mikey, first fighter pass, actual plausible. I would love it because that would almost be like a shrivel of hope that they might reboot that TV show. As they should, quite frankly. I feel like Kappa Mikey would do well in modern day. People like anime now. Oh, I think I'm shooting like a big bad. Too early. What's going on with you? Knowing my luck, Kappa Mikey will probably end up an assist trophy. And I'd be fine with that. Do I like anime? I used to, but I've gotten to a point where I've watched all the good anime. And I'm kind of just left in the aftermath of, well, there's no more good anime. So, nothing to watch. I think like there's a big red spot on his back. I honestly, I try like pretty much every week. I will just go on like anime streaming platforms or sites and just look for something, anime movies, and I can't find anything that really grabs me. Nothing that isn't super shonen or following kind of trends, or it's like for magical girls and a guy in an online MMO. Mushishi, I fucking love Mushishi. It's one of my favorite anime, and I've already watched it twice. I've watched through Mushishi twice. I think there might be like a movie or two that I haven't seen. So thank you for the reminder. And if you want an anime suggestion, my usual go-to is Mushishi. It is like super cozy. It's not super... It's not trying too hard. It's not even like trying to be funny or anything. It's just trying to have a compelling narrative. Bungo Stray Dogs. Haven't heard of it. The last one I tried to get into was Golden Kamuy, and it just didn't stick. I have been catching up. This is like the real week coming out. I've been catching up on manga that I used to read but fell behind on. Trying to catch up on Dr. Stone right now. This shit is so different than the start of it. I'm not turned off yet, but Dr. Stone doesn't grab me like it used to, when it was more like the first 5 days of a Minecraft world. Now it's like they're on a Tekkit server. I'm actually ashamed to say this, and I apologize in advance, but I am now 100% caught up on My Hero Academia, the manga. And I gotta say, if they cut out like 5 of the arcs, it would be a good series. But it's, I don't know. It just feels like it's got like Naruto syndrome. It's not even filler. Like, it's arguably all content, but I just don't give a shit. And like, they're doing some cool stuff with it now. Again, I won't spoil anything. But it's also, it hasn't like tried anything I've never seen in another piece of media. A lot of My Hero, even in its newest parts, like, oh, that reminds me of something else. I like something else, but I was hoping for something else. My favorite Ghibli movie is Princess Mononoke. I saw this meme recently, comparing Miyazaki to Junji Ito. And like, if you've seen the memes of Miyazaki, head of the Ghibli movies, like, he's always smoking a cigar, hyper depressed. He fucking hates the anime industry because he thinks it's I'm paraphrasing. He feels like a lot of the people making anime right now grew up watching anime, and now all they make is this, like, the stuff they liked. They've sort of flanderized anime down to the stuff they like without all of the essential other content. And so Miyazaki is super jaded and pissed off, and he's just this bitter old man. Or at least he acts like it in interviews. Then you look at Junji Ito. This dude, I should mention, Ghibli movies are like typically very colorful, usually pretty happy. They might like have a tense ending or something, but they're usually like pretty uplifting films. Then you have Junji Ito, another dude in the industry. He makes terrifying horror manga. But you see him in interviews, he's just the happiest guy you've ever met. He's like, I walked through the park the other day. I saw this bird. It was turning its head funny. I thought, that's interesting. And it gave me an idea. I love the world. Junji Ito is just like this adorable man. But he makes horrifying things. And it's such a strange contrast with Miyazaki, who makes this adorable stuff, but he's such like a hollow husk of human emotion. I don't have to clear this room, right? I'm just like shooting the shit. Alright, I'm over clicking. Wait, did Junji Ito hit the whip, Nene? I've not seen that. Huh. I gotta see that clip. I gotta, like, pay attention for a moment. Okay. The new Uzumaki anime, it got pushed back. I can't recall if it's pushed back, if it's October, but there were delays on the Uzumaki. So there's a Junji Ito manga called Uzumaki. It's like some of his most popular work. They're adapting it. I'm super excited for it, but it got delayed. Dead bod. Highly recommend it, by the way. Like, it's the kind of thing I will probably make a funk study on, because it's so unique in its presentation. It's stylistically super close to the manga. It's in black and white. But it's not like a cheap tactic, like they don't have to color it. If you've ever read Junji Ito, you understand. It's one of those things where you almost have to stay super true to his artwork. Like, you add more detail and it takes away from just like the shock of seeing his art. I don't know, you could make an argument that they could colorize it, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be unique. The real thing to be excited about is the line work. The line work they have for, like, they've shown maybe 3 seconds of footage, but it's super crisp, manga-like. It's not like those. It doesn't have that really washed down, produced anime look. Did Junji Ito make Parasite? I don't recognize that name. Parasite? You mean, wait, Parasite with a Y? No, Junji Ito did not make that. That was a fucking weird one. I watched it on Netflix. There's this anime called Parasite. It's actually pretty poignant it's like a poignant commentary on technology, I think. Intentional or not. So, in Parasite, these aliens, like, appear on Earth and they take over human bodies to use as their host. But this one alien fails to take over this kid, so it's just stuck on his arm. Like, it just grew in his hand and didn't reach the brain. So now he's just got this eyeball on his hand that can polymorph into like a sword and a monster, and it's weird. It's horror kind of thing. But when I was watching it, I got the impression it was sort of a commentary on like smartphones and stuff, because whenever he's talking to Moogie, the name of the alien, he just stares at his hand like it was a phone. And that's as far as I got with the commentary. I kind of fell off on it. Like, it's not all commentary on technology. It's just, it's I don't know. It gets gimmicky. Eventually, it turns into like stand battles, but with your arm. And that's all I'll say. It was a 1988 manga. It probably has nothing to do with tech, but it just looked funny to me. I'll be honest, I didn't pay that much attention to the story. Although I didn't like the ending. I won't spoil it. I don't know if like it was supposed to get more. It was like a cliffhanger that never included. Is there anything new with Junji Ito? I'm not sure. Whenever I go to the bookstore, I intently look for Junji Ito stuff. The last one I read was Love Sickness. I haven't read Tomi yet, and I always see it on the shelf, but it was like one of his first work. It's just about this creepy girl. I'm kind of avoiding that one until I feel like I got nothing else to read from him. Really use this scatter shot. Actually, I still have Gyo, but I never finished it. Gyo is this one where these little devices start locking on to sea life that give them like little spider legs, and they come on land and start just terrorizing people. Like, there will be this device on a great white shark, and then he'll have a chapter of a shark just running around a village eating people and chasing them in their houses. It's almost a shitpost. Almost. At one point, it latches onto this guy's hand, and he has to cut it off, so this guy's hand is just waddling around on his floor. I love Junji Ito, because, like, so much of his work is, like, 25% shitpost. But 75%, like, very, very serious. I think I've already told this one on stream before, but another one of my favorites by him is about this family that lives in a pretty culturally historic house. It's just like been around for a long time. And this lady shows up at their door asking to move in, to just be their maid. And they agree to it, they let her move in, and then after 3 months, she starts having sex with the house. It's not like... I'm kind of cheesing it up, but there's just a... She's naked in the rafters, dry humping the house. That's not an exaggeration. Like, she falls in love with their home. And then it escalates, and they end up moving out. Not the lady, but... And that's what I mean. It's effectively shitposting. But he really, like, sells it enough that you think that he takes it seriously. Is it hot? I've seen weirder. Lady dry humping a plank of wood. So yes or no? It's hard to say. Like, outside of that relationship, it wasn't like a smut novel. just had some smutty elements to it. I've had that idea for a video at some point. Just talk about some of my favorite Junji Ito novels. Or short stories, because he has dozens upon dozens of them. And some of them are very wacky. I don't know what his last work was. Whatever it is probably like Japan exclusive right now. I was actually a little sad because JoJo Part 8, some people... I don't know if this was a stretch, but some people I talked to were saying it was sort of... It sort of had like horror shock elements. And sort of made like slight comparisons to Junji Ito. Which made me interested in Part 8, but then I started reading it. And it was just Araki starting up plot points and then dropping them. Which, it's JoJo, right? I'm used to that. He's been doing that for 40 years. But never quite as much as he does chapter to chapter in JoJolion. Where he will set up something as this big mystery that has to be solved. And everyone is working to solve this mystery. And then 3 chapters later, some funny guy with funny hair shows up. And it invites Joshu to fight with beetles. And then they just completely forget about the mystery that they were doing several chapters before. I trust me, it's all related. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't eventually come around. Like, I could see Araki eventually addressing some of this stuff, but following it in real time does not feel like you're following it in real time. It feels like when I'm reading JoJolion, Araki wrote, like, you know, a full volume, but while he was walking to his editor, he tripped, and all of the pages scattered across his floor, and in a panic, he just started putting them in a pile without sorting them, and then handed them to the editor. And the editor goes, "Oh, okay, Araki, is this ready? Ready to just get finalized on the line work, and then we'll put it out?" Yeah, sure, just put it out. Yeah, just put it out. That's how I felt reading Part 8. Like, oh, I think we're skipping something. But I only got to, like, chapter 40, so maybe that changes. Wow, I am stuck on a tutorial room. I'm trying to use the skill shot just when I can get multiple required targets. It's crazy how good Part 8 is, and then... it's crazy how good Part 7 is. But when I read Part 8, like, it hasn't clicked yet. By chapter, like, 30, 40, I was ride or die with Part 7. Like, I through the entire second half, I was contemplating getting a gyro tattoo on my ass. That's how ride or die I was. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. In a way, I kind of respect how Araki can make each part so different. Like, there are a lot of mangas, a lot of series that it's so samey. You end up with, you know, like a Boruto, where you can tell the writer doesn't really have a vision, and they're not trying to push the mold. At least Araki's trying something. Go gamer mode for a moment and just clear this room. Since I haven't been able to find many good anime, I've just been resorting to watching live-action shows on Netflix. Community is what I've been watching. I like it. Not a top-tier sitcom. I don't think anything will ever come close to Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It feels like that's the GOAT sitcom. I wouldn't even count like The Office as a sitcom, but if you did, I still think Always Sunny is overall better. Especially if you factor in the later seasons. Like, later Sunny is still pretty golden. I'm gonna sound really stupid. What was the anime with guy who voices Tom from the Toonami commercials? See a Space Cowboy? It's iconic. I can't remember the name. Space Cowboy Bebop. I started Cowboy Bebop. Got through 3 episodes. I'm loving it so far. I can't remember why I just stopped watching it. And someone said Space Dandy in chat, and that reminded me of Cowboy Bebop, that I need to finish it. Cowboy, Lip Loop. Space Dandy reminded me it because they're both kind of sort of spacey adventures. But their protagonists are very different. Yo, Ron Wood. This is definitely me when I'm playing Scout on CTF Lakeside. Person, do they the Space Dandy and Cowboy? Maybe. If so, that's a fact I didn't know. I was playing Apex. No, I'm all right with TF2 questions. I pick and choose what I respond to, but I don't mind them. TF2 updates ever feel formulaic or repetitive at any time in its lifespan? Depends on who you ask. When they were going through the MVM phase, some people didn't like it. They wanted new maps and new normal content. I wasn't super jazzed about contracts when they came out as much as other people were. Like, I just wanted competitive stuff. I wanted rebalances, competitive maps to be added. And they weren't doing that as much. I mean, TF2 updates were formulaic in a sense that they followed a formula, I guess. Like, they would add a couple maps, do a couple rebalances, and have, like, a gimmick feature. It's not like every update was some crazy new pastime manpower thing. But the thing is, TF2 is such a good game that having a formulaic, just general content update, like just a quality of life summer update, that was enough, more or less. You know, when they changed weapons to be way different, when they like gave the sun on a stick a gimmick where the scout can hit people who are on fire, like just weird stuff where you can tell that Valve was doing internal playtesting and they're like, maybe this will be a fun way to use the weapon. Stuff like that. I didn't mind those kind of formulaic updates. It was never, but before like 2017, Even like the benign updates were still pretty good. It really wasn't until like 2018 or so where all holiday updates were 1 to 2 maps, a bunch of hats, and that's it. Like, they don't even really do contracts now, do they? I can't remember the last contract they added. Like, I guess they might have, like, reopened the Halloween and Smithmas stuff, but they don't even make, like, new contracts. At best, they just sort of recycle stuff they've done before. So, we get formulaic stuff now, but it wasn't always that way. I was talking to one of my friends. I have an Aussie buddy that really just played... He disagreed in my video that, like, he really liked the updates from, like, 2011 to 2012. And when they started doing MVM and the pub stuff, he didn't really care at all. He didn't like the updates. He just wanted more major content changes, new crazy weapons, and, you know, competitive maps and stuff. For someone like him, you know, even like 2014-15 was kind of formulaic compared to 2013, 2012. Like, you remember they added medieval mode and then never made a second map for it. That was just a one-time gimmick. Which, by the way, they should have made it. They should have added a second map. I went through a phase where I would just join community servers and play custom medieval maps because it was so goddamn fun. Helm's Deep is one of my favorites. It's like one of the biggest medieval... It's like the biggest medieval map I've ever played. There was a payload medieval map where you push this giant, I think, keg of beer through this just medieval town with a bunch of castles in it. Can't remember the name of it. Loved that map. And there were, you know, there were a couple other random medieval maps that I thought totally deserved to be in the game. I thought it was surprising they never even added community maps, you know? Like, why? I don't need Valve to make their own medieval maps, but at least add more, you know? It got its own... Actually, I guess it didn't. It's like the other category of casual, right? But if they added more, they could have just had a medieval category to queue for. And I would have had that shit on every time. Alright, I'm not so bothered with the super hot mechanic, I guess. It is useful. Mostly because of the teleport. It's just way more control over my movement. And I will say, I do think it's possible TF2 will get updates. I don't think it's, like, done forever. I've talked to a couple people who disagree. They're like, don't expect anything ever again. I could totally see Valve getting bored in the next 5 years and just saying, fuck it. We're gonna finish some random maps we have in the just sitting around. You remember Powerhouse? Isn't that map was made in like 2008 or something? And it just got finished years later because the guy who made it came back and was like, fuck it. Let's see if 3CP works. You might not like Powerhouse, but that's just sort of an example that Valve can shelf TF2 stuff and come back later. I think it's plausible Valve does something like that. I don't know if we're going to get like Cactus Canyon. I mean, honestly, if I had to guess what they would come back, I guess Cactus Canyon would be, like, plausible. But my point is, I could see that happening in the next 5 years, along with some, like, weapon rebalances. Now, does that mean, like, I'm excited for TF2 to eventually come back? No, I think sometimes you gotta let sleeping dogs lie. Ozymandias, everything that's built is doomed to crumble. Not to be like doomer about it. But like I think TF2 will get something, but I'm not basing my expectations off of it. Like, I'm just living my life. I will find ways to entertain myself elsewhere. I'll play other games. When I feel like booting up TF2, I'll boot it up. And if we get more content, great. If not, I didn't stake my life in it. And that's good enough for me. It's Plesiosaurus. It's not a plesio. They don't have a big neck. What's my stance on Nicktoons All-Stars? I love it. I love the idea. Fucking hilarious that that game is going to have rollback netcode and wave dashing. It's surprising how many fighting games don't have rollback netcode. I think there's like a Capcom fighting game that has it, but I can't name that many. And for the like, if you don't know what rollback netcode is, there's a couple like video essays on YouTube explaining it. They're pretty. They're a fun watch. The idea is the client kind of talks to the server and predicts what's going to happen, and if what happens on the server doesn't align with what happens on the client, it rolls back and adjusts the server. Like a super simplification of it, but that's my understanding. Basically, like, there's less of that what I saw happen didn't align with what actually happened. Like, I thought that what I did worked, but it ended up not working. It's a bit more consistent, I guess. This Nicktoons game, this licensed, branded, Smash-like, it has that rollback netcode. People wanted Smash to have it. They wanted it for years. I think only Melee got it recently because someone finally released like a program that could host rollback netcode. And I'm curious how much like deeper tech the game will have. It was made by the people that made, I can't remember the name of it. City. There's a developer. They just know their stuff. They've made some other games with some credibility. So they're not just making a branded game. Is it Slap City or something? Yeah, Slap City. Correct me if I'm wrong. I was watching like a video about Flash fighting games, and they were talking about the people who made Super Smash Flash 2. They went on to make Slap City, right? Or like someone that worked on, the guy that worked on Super Smash Flash 2 went on to assist on Slap City, I think. I just thought that was interesting. I watched that video like a day before they announced this game by the same people who made Slap City. Anyways, the Nicktoons game, I'm going to be a Korra main. Maybe Aang, it depends on his air recovery. Maybe XJ9. She's not confirmed, but there's no fucking way they're not XJ9. She'd be a perfect fighter. And I don't know who else I'd be excited for. For those who don't get that Aang joke, he's an airbender. Just wanted to... was worried that flew over everyone's head. If you don't want me to explain the joke, give me a single lull. This is a compromise, alright? It's too late now. You know the Twitch etiquette. If it's dead silence when I say something funny, my first thought is, alright, no one got it. I think I cleared it. The worst part is that was like actually clever. Like I usually make a lot of shitty jokes that don't warrant a response. I thought that one was like a genuine air chortle. I don't know where to go. There's like a red thing. There it is. everyone's making jokes. Everyone's making jokes, but I haven't heard the air. I'm not going to defend myself. It was funny. I came up with it. End the conversation there. Don't you know I'm a content creator? I require verbal validation for everything I do. Otherwise, I'll just flip around on stage like a fish out of water. Eerie music. Froggy. What's up with you? Funk, did you see Foco is going to do a video about TF2? I don't know who Foco is. Who's Foco? I'm waiting for the punch. Is Foco an actual person? I thought you were like setting up one of those jokes. I mean, cool. More conversation, the better, I guess. Oh, I gotta slap his belly. Keep forgetting. Am I fighting a Zelda boss right now? I'm gonna slap it 3 times. Most VTubers have surprisingly good taste, claims a chat member. I don't think you should be handing out awards just because someone likes Minecraft. I think you should set your bar a little higher. Okay, I'm whiffing. So my right click retracts it back to me. Left click, I teleport to it. Sometimes I get them mixed up, and when I try to retract, I extend. And that's pretty much puberty in a nutshell. Big toad gut. I did invent liking Minecraft, but I was before my time, so I didn't take off. I didn't get any of the credit for liking Minecraft when it was uncool to like Minecraft. To be fair, I was just playing it. I wasn't really doing the gimmicks. Only I had discovered that TF2 mod earlier. I made it. Ooh. Thanks, Mintathon. My greatest weakness will always be that I don't like talking to other humans. Like, I'm not completely removed from any Minecraft circles. I know people. But, like being in, I don't know, those, like, group settings where it's a multiplayer where a bunch of people get together in a voice chat and it's just chaotic hell. Like, I run out of energy taking my order in the fast food drive line, you know? Like, I can't sit in a Discord for 3 hours talking to people. You're doing it right now? Yeah, but you're not talking back. I'm just talking to a magical wall of text, completely aware, completely, like, capable of responding with that of a human intelligence. But that doesn't mean I have to address you like you as such. You sentient code. Maybe I should simplify reviews like that. Thank you, some guy. I'm doing well. Best I've been in a long while. I'm pretty happy so far. I hope to keep it up. Thank you. I slapped his belly. I don't think that constitutes death. I did play Among Us with a bunch of YouTubers once. That was fun. I like that. But Among Us is a game where you're quiet when you play. You only talk to, like, figure it out after a round. And I'm good at that. I'm good at confrontations. That's probably not a skill to be proud of. I'm good at confronting people, just not talking to them. Signs of a healthy social life. I'm a debate me, bro. I mean, I haven't played since then, but I just remember that. There's some tight angles. Celos. That's okay. Acknowledged. Couple more. Wasn't a famous person in that lobby. There was a couple. Oh, I don't need to sit here and, like, brag about playing with YouTubers. But, like, yeah, there were a couple big people. I think that's how I met a bunch of, like, bigger people. Like, that was the first time I ever talked to Critical, I think. No, I did their podcast a week prior. Emperor Lemon was there. People kept making jokes that we sound the same. I found it funny. This is how you know you peaked as a content creator, when instead of doing more content, you're just like, guys, remember that time I made content? Damn, that was good content. Those were the days. It was 4 months ago. Damn, remember that time I made that video about missing TF2? Fuck. Those were the good old days. We knew so little. I was so young, so optimistic. Me and my fidget spinner. I was hoping I could play a song off them. It's random. Yeah, I've been watching the new Rick and Morty season. Did you see the leaked episode? There was like a part of the world, I can't remember if it was like New Zealand or something, where they played episode 7 instead of episode 4. So now episode 7 is just out there. I won't spoil anything. I watched it. I think it was intentionally leaked though. Based on some of the contents in the latter half of it. Anyone who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. I think they knew what they were doing. It felt like they were addressing something that they knew they would need to address. You haven't seen it since season 3. It kind of waned for a bit. I think it was season 3 where it was... They were getting super lore heavy. They were trying to develop it, and it got away from just being a dumb, fun sci-fi cartoon. I feel like they took it back with season 4. Season 4 was pretty good. The beginning of season 5 was solid. Like, they haven't all been hits. People weren't super happy with the last episode, which is probably why it was brought up. But I still like the series, unironically. And that's not just because my brother keeps buying me Rick and Morty clothing for every Christmas. I currently have a hat and a t-shirt. I've worn the shirt, I won't lie. I have not worn the hat, but I have Rick and Morty paraphernalia. I didn't buy it. But I mean, people meme on it. It's funny. And Dan Harmon, you know, he made Community. I like Community. It's pretty like B tier sitcom. I mean, if you include every sitcom, it's A tier, but if you include only the good ones, it's like B. And Justin Roiland, he's a little gimmicky. Some of his jokes end up being like, he tries to be unpredictable, but sometimes it's predictably unpredictable. If that makes sense. But all in all, they do some... Like, every 3 or 4 episodes, they have a clever subversion of some sort of popular trope. And that's really what I come back for. Like, when they're weak, it's passable. When they're good, it's memorable. What am I playing? I got a boomerang, and I jump around. I can teleport to the boomerang or bring it back to me. Characters with a yellow circle over their head are mandatory. I gotta kill them. I don't have to kill, like, this thing, but sometimes it's just a better idea to. It's not a boomerang? I mean, it depends on your definition. It's just 2 boomerangs tied together. Basically. I mean, they're not curved like a boomerang, but... Who am I to judge? I'm gonna judge a boomerang by its cover. Yeah, I saw Inside. I've talked about it a bit. I'm not going to go too in-depth, but Inside was poignant. Poignant's a good word. Like, sad, but very apt. Very accurate to how people felt in the pandemic. It came out a little late, which I don't blame him. Like, if you've watched Inside, you understand kind of why it took him so long to make it. Just because he was going through his own troubles. I did hear that he is playing Inside in select theaters. I saw it's going to play in Atlanta, and I've seen it. I'm partially tempted to go see it again in theater. It would be interesting to see, like, how a crowd reacts. But it's also the kind of thing where it's not going to elicit big laughs. And it doesn't have as many memorable segments as his other shows, in my opinion. Like, that's how the world works. Top tier Bo Burnham. Some of the other songs are, like, memorable, but maybe not top tier. You know, Jeffrey Bezos, the FaceTiming his mom, and even like Welcome to the Internet. That's a good one. I guess that's high tier. I'm not gonna die on that hill. I know people liked Welcome to the Internet. What else was there? What other songs were in Inside? There was that funny feeling. I mean, it's a warm song, but it didn't really... I got it. I get what he means. Like, sort of that... that feeling where, like, you don't want to acknowledge something, but you feel and you know it's there. It was like a very abstract, you get it or you don't song. I got it. I still don't... I'm not crazy about it. Also, not to be elitist about Bo Burnham comedy. You get it or you don't? But it was like... You could tell that was supposed to be like a deep cut for him. It always gets me when someone comes on Twitch and they ask, what is the point of this game? As if there's supposed to be an answer. Like, you're watching the game, you jump around and throw a shuriken. What's the point? To do that goodly. Well, you see, the game is actually a meta-commentary on the excess dopamine burnout known for modern video games. And it's actually subverting that, knowing that its player is going to be completely burned of dopamine from video game addiction. They fill it with all of these little objectives you do that give no dopamine. That you think would. The game, you just have fun. The point of the game is to have fun. If you don't have fun, then you don't play something else. I will say, after making the MOBA video, I think, like, in hindsight, I probably would have changed the direction with that video a bit more to talk about how I think MOBAs can be... I don't want to use the word predatory, but there was a line I really wish I put in the video. MOBA games are like when you're at an arcade and you're just popping coins into Pac-Man. And you keep getting further, you want to keep playing, but you're never going to beat Pac-Man. You're just losing quarters, right? You're not really going to get anything out of it, but you just want to keep playing. And MOBAs are kind of playing on that same human instinct of wanting to keep getting better, keep trying. And that can be risky for people that just do nothing but play MOBAs. Like, you play enough MOBAs, you don't want to play any other game because the stakes feel lower. I want to play against real people. I want to prove that I'm really good with all these abilities that I've learned. And they don't tell you that when you play the MOBA because you see it and you're just like, holy shit, I want to play that. It looks fun as fuck. And if I could have had that warning in the video, I think it would have added a lot to the grander point. Because right now, I was just talking about MOBAs I liked playing, but I didn't really share a grander point or perspective. I think in hindsight, I really should have talked more about how MOBAs can be really dangerously addictive in that way. I didn't have that in the video just because I myself was kind of in that like addiction phase. Like I'm new to MOBAs relatively last year or two, so I didn't want the video to be a generic. I play MOBAs and I fucking hate them. Everyone that plays MOBAs hates them. I thought that would be kind of predictable humor for a MOBA video, so I wanted to avoid that. But I definitely feel that way. If I ever make a follow-up video or just talk about it somewhere, that's something I'm going to touch on. I don't plan on it. I actually, since I've made that video, I haven't touched a MOBA. Partially just because I played it so much for the video, I now don't want to play MOBAs. But the reason I figured that out was I started playing other games. I worked on the TF2 video, played some random stuff, and I realized, like, wow, I burned myself out on MOBAs so much, I didn't want to play anything else. And I had to, like, pull myself away to, regain that. With that said, I still think MOBAs are fun. I think if you have self-discipline, if you have something else in your life to focus on that isn't just playing MOBAs, they're a fun video game. I don't think it's all bad. And there are exceptions, like if you're trying to go pro or something, you're young, you're in school, and maybe you want to try and be an esports gamer or something. Like, it's fine to just play MOBAs. But you gotta just know your own situation. Know, like, if you only play MOBAs, at least be aware that of why you're doing it, you know? I'm not gonna, like, blame Smite for, like, my inactivity last year, because my inactivity last year was a lot of different personal stuff. You know, self-discipline, motivation, just general drive. But my vice of choice last year was playing Smite. When I knew I should be working, but I didn't really feel like it, I would just boot up Smite. Figured, I'll play a couple matches of this and then I'll work later. Lola's a normie game. Lola's fun. It's only so normie as any popular game is. I don't think it's a game you should write off just because it's popular. A lot of people make the meme of, like, my husband started playing League of Legends. I miss him. I mean, I guess those jokes are funny. You can talk shit on League of Legends, honestly, but it's not League that's the problem. It's just MOBAs. It's when you're playing with 5 people in a game where you can't solo carry very easily. I mean, you can, but not like if your teammates fuck up, you're gonna feel it, and that pisses some people off. I mean, I try not to be an angry person, and I've had moments where I'm playing a MOBA and I just get pissed off, and I don't know why. I wish I could articulate what it is about MOBAs that brings that out more than other games. You know, I can play FPS games, I never get that mad. But there's something about MOBAs where you whiff a shot and you're like, fuck, I could have made that. How the fuck did that not connect? It just, like, I don't know. It just pulls out the dormant Neanderthal DNA in you. Like our ancestors when they're fighting over food in Grook pissed off Uktuk. And their first instinct was to just bash him over the head with a rock. That part of, like, the human evolution just comes out when you're playing a MOBA. Also, yeah, as Tame said in chat, the games are so long that when you're not having fun and you can identify a problem, you kind of clicked, you remember it. Because you're there for 40 minutes. You got to watch your teammate feed 0-10 for 40 minutes. It's going to piss you off. Especially like if you try to give them advice, you try to nicely ask them to play with the team, and they keep feeding, and you're like, I know we're going to lose, and it's because, you know, our support or our jungler doesn't know what they're doing, our support keeps feeding, or, you know, insert X reason. When you identify it, you remember it. Whereas you lose like a game of COD or some shit, you don't know. It's just like they just had better players. Whatever. Like even in Overwatch, if I can identify like my DPS suck ass, but whatever. At least the match was over in 8 minutes. You don't have that luxury. With the exception of a surrender, which is even worse. Because sometimes, like, you think you can still win, but your team just, they give up at minute 5. I know I'm going on the brain. They just give up at minute 5, and they spend the next 30 minutes. Just surrender, just FF, just give up. Yeah, I'm going AFK. We lose, we lose, we lose. Stop trying. And you want to keep trying. You lose an Overwatch, you try to the end. You can't surrender. In MOBAs, people just try to bring you down. They're like, why even fucking bother? My father doesn't talk to me anymore. I haven't been hugged since I was 8. Why don't we just FF? Even worse when you consider the queue times can be up to 5 minutes sometimes. Believe that I am the reason I am tilted. It's my choice to be tilted, but no matter what, how long I play Overwatch or other comp games, I can't put my finger on how frustrating or how I can combat it. There's no magic rule to it. A lot of it is just general psychology. Like I've talked to my therapist about it. I've told my therapist, like, sometimes I get frustrated at tasks. Including like I'm playing a video game. I just get mad and I don't know why. And the best takeaway I've found is just sort of, you can live with your anger, you can see it, but you don't have to listen to it. You can know it's there, you can feel it, and you can let it pass sort of like a wave. Like, I'm angry right now. Why am I angry? This is why I'm angry? What about this makes me angry? Well, do I want to get mad and externalize this and, you know, get mad at my teammates? Or do I just want to focus on what I can do right now? Like, alright, I'm in Overwatch competitive, my team's losing. But I got a microphone, maybe I can talk them into coordinating. If I can't do that, maybe I can work on my own performance. If I can't do that, maybe I can just take the loss, sit through it, maybe put on some music, wait for the next match. It really just, it takes an emotional maturity to control your own emotions. Emotional maturity isn't that you never get angry, you never get frustrated, it's that you don't let that stuff control you. You don't give it the wheel. It can sit in the back and fucking kick your seat and say, pull over, I don't want to go home, go, shut her up. But as long as you're holding the wheel, the steering wheel, you don't have to get hit. You don't have to, like, you don't have to get overwhelmed with it, I guess is what I'm saying. That's kind of how I deal with getting angry at video games. For MOBAs, for FPS games, for Overwatch. When I was like a teenager playing competitive TF2, I was a little hothead. I would bang on my desk, I'd get mad. I wouldn't yell at my team, but I would just grumble and complain off microphone. Like, I have PTSD from playing Scout, hitting a meat shot, and seeing the number 9. I have PTSD from that. Like, I would see every pellet connect, but I guess only one pellet connected, so it did 9 damage. It's supposed to do 120, 140, however much a full meat shot does, but because I aimed a little left, a little right, only one pellet connected, and I did 9 damage. When that happened, I would go fucking bananas. I would lose it internally. I would completely flip over in my own brain. And that was really what, like, that was where I had to learn to control it. Like, fuck, I hit a 9. That sucks. Whatever. Just keep shooting. Keep shooting till you win or you're on the respawn timer. And, like, I still get mad. I still play games and get pissed. But I try to deconstruct it. I try to dissect that anger in real time like I'm my own psychologist, as opposed to just sort of letting it grind me up. You have that problem with Smash? Oh yes. Fighting games will definitely do that. I think I won't lie, it's fun to watch, like, controller rage compilations of people at Smash tourneys just literally down neutral, I don't know Smash terminology, just down specialing their controller into the ground at a LAN. It's funny. Also, that one's, like, even worse because it's such a fast game. Like, at least, like, in a MOBA or something, you have time to sit there and process your anger. Like, fuck, I can't believe that happened. But then one life later, like, you pop off. But in a fighting game, you might just getting shit-rocked. You're just getting shit-rocked for a whole match or a whole round or whatever game you're playing. Or all your stocks. And you don't even have time to dissect it. You're just mad. Get that? Funnily enough, something that helped me was playing team-based games with a microphone. When you hear other people get angry, you don't want to get angry, you just want to laugh. It's just like, wow, this guy is getting pissed. In a funny way. Not even to give Overwatch credit for something. Playing Overwatch as a tank player, where you're not doing that much. Hearing my DPS get pissed off, it's almost like an opportunity. I try to talk them down like they're a jumper. Like they're on the 7th story about to hop out of a building, and I'm like, hey man, let's talk about it, alright? We're still a team. So why don't we just adjust the strategy? It's not over. Like, my voice goes up 2 keys to just sort of give them the impression that I mean well. Hey man, you got this. It's alright, dude. Let's be cool. And spending enough time diffusing those bombs really, honestly, helped me. Because, like, when you see other people get angry, you're like, alright, don't be that guy. I think I had a bit about that in my MOBA video that got scrapped. I was gonna talk about toxic teammates in the video at some point. Like, you're gonna have a lot of matches with people that just fucking throw the game, and they complain and they bitch and moan. But if you can get over that, it's a fun genre. I just ended up cutting it from the video because I just wanted to talk about the games. Man, I'm still in this room. I mean, it's Mechanics are fun. I'm not complaining, but I just thought I'd be done by now. Also, yeah, anyone that's played a MOBA already knows, like, how bad MOBA players are. You know what's funny? Having played every MOBA for that video, the League community was the nicest to me. When I was playing, Smite was the worst one, by far. To be fair, Smite was my first MOBA, so I was a lot shittier at it. So people were mad at me more often. But I played Dota. Anyone that's played Dota, if you don't know how to buy items, it's really obvious. Because when you look at the item shop in Dota, it's just a bunch of random, like, neutral, basic items. And they don't tell you what to upgrade, what to buy. So my first few Dota matches, I would just buy, like, those amulets and gloves, and I would buy, like, 4 of them. And by late game, 15 minutes in, I just have, like, 4 amulets and 2 sets of gloves. And my teammates wouldn't even get pissed. They would just laugh at me. They would just say, first game, huh? You should probably look up a guide. Like, they were almost nice about it. I played League of Legends. No one really said anything. If we lost, sometimes it was just a dead silent match. You know, we might get a forfeit button. And occasionally someone would get pissed about, like, jungle not rotating. But they wouldn't even, like, externalize it. They're just like, I'm alone in lane. I need backup. I'm not getting it. GG. When I played Smite, I couldn't tell you what they said, because a lot of it was in a different language. I got told to suck someone's cock, like, at least 4 times. I got told to uninstall and go play a Sonic game, because that's, quote, more my speed. And multiple people reported me for being bad. And they tried to, they would, like, sit there and Shark Tank pitch to the enemy team that they all had to report me because I was just, like, not good. I'm asking for 40% equity in you getting him removed from this game. And even, like, I play Smite now, and I'm good at Smite, I feel like. I'm, like, I'm decent bell curve, and people still get so pissy at me. But, like, I haven't... Now, to be fair, I don't really play competitive League. Maybe it's different there. But Dota, it seemed like the game's so old, everyone playing it is so used to bad players that they kind of just wipe off the sweat. They're just like, that, whatever. And move on. Still just hopping around here. Well, so this enemy dodges away when I get too close. There we go. That said, it didn't stop me from playing Smite, because the game's fun. And again, I kind of find it funny when people get angry. And the good matches usually make the bad ones worth it. Like, when a team comes together, you feel like everyone does their role. Like, one of the best feelings in the world. Like, your jungler rotates, hits every perfect buff. Like, your solo laner starts this is all jargon for people who don't play, but, like, your solo starts rotating after first tower. When everything comes together, it's a really fun game. You feel like a cog in a well-oiled machine, which isn't the best comparison. If you don't want to feel like a brick in the wall, but If you don't mind sort of being a team player, it's fun. And I will say, I get why people talk shit on me when I first started playing Smite, because I would do shit like trying to jungle as Jormanger. For those who don't know, Yorm is this giant dragon worm who sticks out of the ground, moves super slow, and just breathes fire. He's slow as shit. Basically a tank. He is a tank, as support. And junglers have to run across the entire map and gank. So when you play a giant slow worm that doesn't do any consistent, impressive damage, you literally are throwing. But it's funny as fuck. Because it's like the most possible throw you could ever do as a jungler. So I don't even regret it. Boom. Worm with an O. Have any interest in Everhood? That rings a bell. But I don't remember what it is. I might be thinking of Graven. I'm not sure what Everhood is. Rhythm game? Is it that one with like the pink-haired girl? Just a random guess. That's the only rhythm game. The new rhythm game I know of. Ow. Times like these, I wish I could lower the difficulty. It has combat like Guitar Hero. Is it like that Undertale-looking indie game where it's got like the little frets for combat that you have to like dodge left and right? Is it that one? Okay, I kind of recognize it. I don't really know anything about the game though. If you recommend it, I'll look into it, but it hasn't been on my bracket at all. Haven't thought about it. I miss Deltarune. I don't mind Toby taking his time, but I really like Chapter 1. Damn, I want to play more of it. I thought at one point of making a video about JRPG combat, like some of my favorite takes on it, because I feel like there's a lot of interesting ones, but I don't play enough JRPGs to properly represent it, I think. I feel like there's a lot of games I need to play first. It's like, I love Deltarune's combat, I loved Chrono Trigger's combat, I loved Super Mario All-Star Saga, and I guess by extension, Mario RPG. I like those kinds of combat. But I still need to play more. I would talk about Pokemon, but really only as like really to give perspective on how empty you can make JRPG combat. I had a moment where I was playing Pokemon Sword. Some people gave me some competitively viable Pokemon, so I had a phase where I was learning competitive Pokemon, and I think I played I played like I can't even remember the name of it. There was like that online Pokemon Heroes or whatever. There was a time where I was learning Pokemon competitive meta, and it's fun to an extent, because Pokemon Showdown, that was the name. It's been a long time. So there's fun to competitive Pokemon, because there is sort of pre-planning. You can have certain Pokemon that can be setups, where they're throwing down toxic spikes. They might be giving themselves buffs or something. Then you might have a sweeper, someone that just comes in and one-shots, and once you lose them, there are different strategies. You can do a stall where you throw out a Alolan Corsola or some shit, and they just tank everything while Toxic Spikes kills everyone. There's some pre-planning to Pokemon, so even though the combat of it is just, alright, you have 4 abilities, pick one, and then attack, there is strategizing to it. With that said, it's really, really vapid relative to a lot of other JRPGs. Which is we're talking about, like, you know, take your pick on any other JRPG. One of my favorites is Deltarune, because it's sort of like that rhythm timing system where you gotta time the attack where a bar moves and you gotta click on it as it gets to a certain spot. That's why I liked Undertale. But really, Undertale is so hard to even talk about because it's almost not even combat, you know? It's such a meta game where you're fighting them, but you're not planning on killing them. You're just sort of surviving until you can mercy them or you get to a point in a fight. Which is why I really like Undertale and Deltarune's combat. It's not just doing damage. It's a bit of gimmick to it. Anyways, if you have a recommendation for a JRPG game, give me it, because I'd love to amass a knowledge of those games. Trying to predict where they're going to go. Is Persona 4's combat cool? I know the HUD looks cool, and I've gotten recommendations for the game, but I don't know if it's, like, anything to write home about. It wouldn't stop me from playing it, mind you, but I'm just looking for, like, really eccentric JRPGs right now. Xenoblade? Yeah, anything. I like how one guy said play Xenoblade and someone said don't. Dragon Quest 11. Yeah, I'm looking for like the cool stuff. Like Chrono Trigger's really cool, where you have to position your units, your characters, based on where the enemies are standing, because a lot of their attacks attack within certain like shapes or ranges or directions. So when you're fighting in Chrono Trigger, there's this interesting dynamic of I don't know, just sort of like aiming. So that was a very memorable one for me. Oh yeah, the South Park RPG. I totally forgot about that. I'm still in this room. I mean, I don't remember much about its combat, but I did love the first RPG they made. I never played the other one, the superhero one. Just played the, or is it like the? I can't remember. It's been so long. They have the Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole. I haven't played the Fractured Butthole. Played Stick of Truth. One is like a RPG mage adventure, and the other is superheroes, to my knowledge. Boom. Headshot. Trying to like really get through this room because this game is supposed to be 2 hours long, but I'm about to make it 3. Alright, you guys have given me a couple names to ponder. Has there been an FPS RPG? There must have been, right? JRPG. I guess that wouldn't really make sense. RPG is a little vague. Like, I know there's Bethesda games. There's like Rage, that kind of stuff. I was thinking more like JRPG, like turn-based FPS combat. Has something like that ever been attempted? Would that even make sense? MVM. That's not really turn-based. Like, there's different parts, right? There's when you're talking about a JRPG, you know, you're leveling your party and or character. You're collecting resources, and combat's more strategy than it is aim. I'm curious if there's ever been a first-person one. I'm pretty sure there hasn't, which feels like that's just an untapped gimmick. I mean, maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's a gimmick, and the reason it doesn't exist is because it doesn't really work. Valkyria Chronicles. How could it be FPS but also turn-based? That's what I'm wondering. Like, if I was a developer... I mean, these are the fun hypotheticals for me. It sounds like something that wouldn't work, but could it? I mean... Technically speaking, the FPS element would be irrelevant, right? Like, it could be just like a JRPG, but it just happens to be first person. But that's not really fun. You want to have more to it, right? You want to have a gimmick, you want to have it your own style. You could do stuff with it, like maybe there's a line of sight element to the combat. Maybe there's movement, like moving around on a checkerboard. So you have to position yourself. Maybe there's sort of a timing or an aim. Like, you know, what are those orange discs when you're practicing shooting a gun? They toss these orange discs in the air and you gotta shoot them down like Duck Hunt style, right? Clay pigeons. So maybe you could have some sort of a clay pigeon mechanic where when you're fighting, you have to, like, you have like a brief 3-second interval to shoot a moving target. Whether that target is the enemy or some general thing. That could be sort of a part of the combat. Shooting clay pigeons. Why wouldn't I just play Duck Hunt then? Well, it's a JRPG. You build out a world. You flesh out a story with characters. And Duck Hunt doesn't let you upgrade your party. Doesn't let you give I don't know, Lucas a new pair of shoes or a new jacket. I haven't played Mother, but I couldn't think of any of the names from Chrono Trigger, so I defaulted Lucas. Even if you're memeing, there's a lot you could do with that kind of format. That's a freebie. Any game developers in my... Fuck, I'm a dumbass. Any game developers here? That's a freebie for you. FPS JRPG. It probably won't sell, but put it on your portfolio. That honestly sounds like something simple enough I could probably learn to make it, like UE4, UE5, I guess. I'll look up that Valkyria game, though, if it's anything close. I mean, anything can sell if you have cute girls. I'm trying to think of an outlier for a joke. I got nothing. This just shows you like how out of practice I am streaming. I'm just a setup streamer. No punchlines, just setups. You can sell anything if it has a cute girls, except I'm like a Mad Lib. I'm just a walking Mad Lib. Edging you, it's more like a blue ball than it is edging. There's a distinct difference between edging and blue balling. And I promise you, I am not fulfilling. Damn, I hate these guys. Two down. There's two to go, rather. Wasn't Doki Doki a first-person JRPG? Not... I get what you're going for, but it's not a JRPG. There's not combat. It's a visual novel. It's all dialogue. And I mean, there's like the gimmicks, there's like the game-breaking stuff, but not really the same conventions. Persona is third person. I'm not even really talking about a game that could be first person conceivably. I mean something that uses being first person as a gimmick in its gameplay. But I can't, there's no conclusion here. Like, I can't talk about it that long. There's not really a game like that. Oh my god. I keep getting so close. Like, I'm getting blue-balled in this room. That should make it easier, right? It's kind of funny that instead of having like easy, medium, hard, it has PC players and console players. Those are the two difficulties in this game. So it just has an easy mode and a hard mode, basically. And I'm playing on easy mode now. The great game shortage of 2021. That's not true. There's a couple good games coming out. Well, potentially good games. He says, racking his brain for a good game that will come out. Arceus Legends comes out this year, right? End of the year. Slated for 2021. If I consulted my wish list, I could give you a couple. By the way, I want to address something that I saw on Funk subreddit. Yeah, that's a thing, surprisingly. Someone looked through my wish list. I don't know if I don't think I can show you it on stream. But I have hundreds of games listed, and someone noticed one of them I have is named Lust from Beyond. And it's a sex RPG. And I just want to address the fact it actually looked like a pretty compelling horror game. And I feel like the inclusion of hot sex is secondary to the potential fun horror gameplay. And just because its Steam thumbnail is titties doesn't mean that it's a smut game. And I'd appreciate people not judging me for having it wishlisted. I dodge. I don't know what to say, guys. I just dodged straight into the instant death orb. I'm at a loss for lives right now. I'm gonna play one-handed for a moment. It's actually working pretty well. Like, losing my left hand, all I lose is the time slow on the shift button. Everything else I can do on one hand, on the mouse. When's the funk study coming out for it? I just gotta get past monetization. Afterwards, you'll see it. Does Pixelmon count as the first turn-based RPG? I'm gonna guess you mean first open world turn-based RPG. Because it's most definitely not the first turn-based RPG. To answer your question, maybe. So there's a Minecraft mod called Pixelmon. It effectively turns Minecraft into an open world turn-based RPG. The question is, does something else like that exist before 2015? I mean, it sounds like something that would exist, but nothing that's been popular. I don't know, like when Xenoblade was out. Oh, you meant first person. I mean, yeah. But that's on a it's not even really first person, because when the combat starts, you're just third person to the Pokemon. You just happen to be first person in the overworld. So technically, yeah, I was thinking more combat first person. But I guess technically you're right. You know what pisses me off? That Sega keeps teasing chows as like this well-renowned, loved feature. Like, they did the Sonic concert, and during the intermission, they played the Chow Garden, right? They have this Sonic Minecraft mod released, and it has chows in it. They know people love chows. They regularly acknowledge it. Yet what do we still not have? Not in its own game, not in a Sonic game. So why the fuck does Sega keep blue-balling the Chow Garden? Or just chows in general? Pisses me off. Like, if they just never acknowledged chows, I'd almost be happier. Like, oh, maybe they're saving it for a rainy day. Or when Sonic, like, bites the dust so badly that they got no other way to recover. Like, it's... I probably rant about this in my own head every week, but it's beyond me that they've never done anything with that concept again. Not even teased it. I don't think have we even seen a chow in a game since Adventure? I don't really keep up with Sonic these days, so I couldn't tell you. Heroes? Heroes? Also, like, if you don't count, what's her name? Peach. I'm on the last wave, by the way. I might... I was kind of hoping when they made that Minecraft mod, they would make a functional Chow Garden. I still wasn't gonna play that shit, but like they had a chance to do something with it, and they didn't. They literally recreated the Chow Garden in Minecraft for that mod. Like you can enter it, and there's a bunch of little baby chow dancing. You can't interact with them or anything. They're just there. Just decorations. Little props. I know I've been on the stage for a while, but the game isn't that long. I feel like I'm probably getting close to the end. Or I might as well finish. I'm not expecting to get caught like this. Been on like 6 different rants. Talk about Sonic and JRPGs. At this point, I'm just speedrunning. What's my dream artworks fighting game? I haven't even played Strive. Fighting game, but every character is just like a really benign job. Like there's a chef who just fights with cooking utensils. There's a car mechanic that uses a giant wrench. There's a lawyer that fights with a briefcase. You know, a fighting game for the blue-collar worker. And it will be called Setup. There's the setup. You do the rest. Here's my mental process of trying to come up with a joke. Alright, so it's a blue-collar fighting game for the blue-collar worker. And the name's going to be called Office Brawl. Street. It's like a pun involving streets and blue-collar clerical work. Inhumane Resources. That's a good one that I just came up with. Paper puncher, hole puncher. A hole puncher is like an office supply. The word punch. Hole punchers. Is that a joke? Hole punchers. I should be a comedian for a minute. Do better. All right, staplers. Oh, binders, folders, folders, and I'm trying to think of like a word that rhymes with it. That involves fighting. So like boulders and schmoulders. Folders, binders, folders, and death. Binders, folders, and extreme murder. There's the name. This joke sucks. Well, it could not suck. That's the point. I hope you know I'm not doing a bit. I'm not trying to, like, the joke isn't that I can come up with a joke. I'm genuinely trying to come up with a joke. Usually I do it silently. I just thought I would do it out loud. But I'm realizing, show don't tell. Honestly, that does sound like a Devolver Digital game. Vile Fury, Sheet Binder. Alright. I still think Hole Puncher is my personal favorite. I might be biased. No, guys. I got it. Clock in, clock out. It was worth it. It paid off. How about just clock out? I mean, even if you're gonna fucking corporate exec overhead me, you be the developer. Lock in, knockout. Okay, that actually sounds like a good name for a fighter. Clock in, knockout. We just came up with it. You got it. Oh, that could have been it. Now we just gotta find a developer. I know it's kind of a meme, but I feel like that's a meta enough fighting game. You could totally do it. You just have to come up with interesting move sets involving office supplies. You could have like a plumber, and he could have a Mario alt skin. The joke character will just be a potted plant from The Office that has gained sentience and became a fighting utensil. You know that really generic corporate art style where they have like really long limbs and rounded heads? Like that generic corporate business clip art. One of those could be a character. Yeah, like a vector art character. One of the characters will be like the office flirt. Would be like a lady, and she's like in a blazer and a nice button up, but the top button is buttoned down. Ooh. You could have like so many corporate in-jokes, like office in-jokes that translate into really interesting characters. Who would be the grappler? Good question. Like AV guy, AV guy, the tech support. He just runs around with like an AV cable and just grapples people with it. Like IT, the IT department will be grapplers. The more I joke about this idea, the more I really think it's a genuinely good idea. What about HR? They'll be stage hazards. If they hit you, you lose your job and lose a stock in the process. You get a strike. Formal warning. honest show of hands, who would play this game if it was real? Just a fighting game about, like, generic office goers in a fighting setting. But it's, like, competently designed. Because I'd play that. Okay. Did I beat it? Holy cow, I beat it. Only took 50 minutes. And several discussions. The great thing is, like, I feel like you could come up with ideas for days. Like, you could have a window cleaner. You could just have really weird, benign office stuff. There's, like, a character where it's bring your child to work day, and it's a tag team of just some dude and his daughter, or, like, or they're just their child. And they, like, swing him around like a flail. You could have, like, a sweet old lady character that uses candy and gifts that she brings into the office. Like, she brings in a box of donuts for everyone. And that'll be her whole gimmick. Of course, you're gonna have, like, the business CEO, like the no tomfoolery, business suit, slicked back Italian face CEO, and he's just gonna, like, I imagine him fighting with his legs, and he'll be just kicking. I don't know why, it just feels thematically fitting. Yeah, the CEO will be a Shoto. Can't get behind it. This one's tricky. Would a DJ count? That doesn't really fit the vibe for an office. Like, it has to be very business, you know? This can't just be any trivial job. Like, you can't have construction workers. I guess a construction worker's kind of close. As long as it's something that would be near or around an office space, you know? But a DJ is pushing it. Customer service, and their whole kit would be Perry's. I have this E, but they're not clustered enough. What would the stages be? One would be the elevator. One would be the boss's office. One would be the bathrooms. One would be the main hallway. You'd have, like, the crazy... Like, you'd be on top of the roof of the building, right? What would be some interesting stages for that? You could have, like, the company vacation. You could go to, you know, like, I don't know, Mexico or the Bahamas or something. Just have a it'll be like at a hotel. Depending on what the company does, maybe it could be related to their work. An office cat, yes. An office cat that uses, but it's like a mech fighter, and it's on top of, like, one of those comical 80s business computers. And the gimmick is it's the slowest fighter in the game. I feel like I need to be taking, like, notes on this. This is an actual idea that I could go pitch to somebody. Room is tricky, but at least I'm not dying on it. A billboard stage, maybe. You can see that. I don't mind this stream just becoming a brainstorming session for a theoretical fighting game. I'm okay with it. Would it be tradition or platformer? I feel like it would be a more traditional fighter, like a 3D or 2D stage fighter. You could maybe make a platform fighter work. I mean, I like platform fighters, but I feel like for this sort of setting, you would almost want it to be a more hardcore, technically proficient fighting game, as opposed to a party fighter. DLC character, the Zoom employees. They just waddle around on laptops. Or you could have like an 80-year-old guy that just never retires, or he keeps coming back to the office. Like he's been at the company for 40 years. You could have some guy that's clearly not qualified for his job, and he has like the most jank moveset in the game. His moveset is just other people's moves, but worse. The assistant has to be a character, like the CEO's assistant. But they're gonna just be like one of the most complex, challenging, difficult fighters in the game. Funk, the plot of Tekken 7 is literally two corporate CEOs going to war with each other. Alright, now we know our baseline. We know what we're aiming to beat. The victory screen is a raise. Oh, I could talk about this all day. I feel sorry for anyone that just showed up in the last 15 minutes, and you just have to sort of ascertain what I'm talking about. But I'm very happy with this concept. Also, I died. Hello. Why is it called Boomerang X? What shape does that boomerang look like to you? If you just had to wager a guess. Take your time. I'm trying to think of cameos, like a famous Office character. Like Jim Halpert might be a Echo skin or something. We'll workshop the idea. Kevin drops the pot of chili. And I like where you're going with this idea. AoE fighter just runs around with a vat of chili. spills it ahead of himself, like a Game & Watch bucket. Dilbert. Oh my, I would be a Dilbert man. I'm sold. Yeah, I really need to use those heal stations more. I keep just running around blindly, forgetting in my top left I have a health bar. By forgetting, I mean I just looked at it for the first time in the entire game. I'm gonna fight a fucking Space Corps. I've died on this room 2 or 3 times, so I'm gonna really get focused here for a moment. A map for the employees' break time, where they're just like at a restaurant. Yeah, I could see it. As long as it sort of fits the just sort of benign, everyday, everyman kind of thing. I think it could work. Like, you really could extend the concept to be more than just an office job, right? Like, you could just have people working the streets, just every day, like, just normal business people. You could have, like, the stay-at-home artists, the college kids, just all kinds of weird, quirky fighters. Limiting yourself to an office, like, it's fun theoretical, but it could be so much more, really. I'm not gonna fuck it up. I'm getting the shields this time. This game is trickier than I thought. So like you have to stand on them for a moment while they all aim at you. What was the name? Yeah, we're even between clock out and clock in knockout. I came up with clock in clock out, but I'm privy to clock in knockout personally. I'm just gonna say it. One of the fighters should be an AI. It'll make sense in the future. It'll help the game age better. If one of, you know, those those Boston Dynamic robots they kick around that are supposed to deliver boxes. One of those. That'll be a fighter. Just an Amazon work drone. This game doesn't exist, but I'm pondering a theoretical fighter and coming up with ideas for it. And frankly, I'm in love sniffing my own fumes right now. This game's pretty. Like, they could have gone easy on the, art style, but they actually have some interesting environments. Not totally sure what's going on here. Ooh. Oh. I see. I see. I like them's fighting herds. The pony fighting game. Mechanically. I don't know if people still play it though. It's competent development. I mean, I didn't really play it. I tried it a few times and liked what they had, but I'm not a super big fighting game guy. I tend to just try stuff and never get good at it. The exception being Zero Suit, of course. Don't want to brag, but I'm top 100 GSP Zero Suit. That's 100,000 with 5 zeros, by the way. It's a lot of zeros. Former Brony. I watched the first 3 seasons of it, so if that constitutes a Brony. I don't... no, it's not... I had Brony friends. I was pretty attuned to some of those circles, but I don't know what ended up happening with the series. Pretty interesting shape for a room. A giant cylinder. Oval. Like the shape of that, what was it? That asteroid that flew by Earth a while ago. It was just this giant shit-shaped asteroid. And it was spinning around in a weird way. And it was like the strangest looking asteroid that for a while people thought it might have been like an alien vessel. Or some sort of like debris from another civilization that just flew into our part of the universe. But it just ended up being a big shit asteroid. My favorite album cover. I don't know the name of it. It's... Well, there's a couple. Good Graphics by Roswell Kid is one of my favorite album covers. You know that part of the SpongeBob movie where he's playing guitar and it's like funky colors and he's got 3 hands, I think? Or no, he's got 2 hands, but he's playing it. Their album looks kind of like that on Good Graphics by Roswell Kid. One of my favorite album covers. There's another one, it's just like this painting of a ship on a dark lake. But I can't remember the name. The album's not that great, but I love the artwork for it. There's a Weezer one I like, but I can't remember what album. Would I bring back Funkcraft? It'll happen. It always happens. I just take breaks when I'm working on other stuff, when I'm busy with YouTube, or I'm streaming random stuff. But there'll be another Funkcraft. It just tends to take away from my focus elsewhere, because I'm not really a full-time streamer. I've tried it, I couldn't make it work for me. So doing stuff like Funkcraft, I don't want to just start it and then not only play once a week, because so much gets built so fast. I kind of feel like I need to play regularly, like every day or every other day. So I don't want to start a Funkcraft at a time where I can't play it really actively. Once I've done a bit more on YouTube, maybe I'm a bit more active on Twitch, and I can manage it. It'll be another Funkcraft. Land. Hope you can tell what's happening, because I can't. How do I feel about the last Weezer albums? OK Human is top tier. My opinion hasn't changed. It is easily their third best album. I'd say it's over White. I'd say it's over Eobite. White might be sort of debatable, but I consider it their third best. Van Weezer I don't really care for. They got 2 songs on it I'm crazy about, and the rest I could not give a shit. The rest of it is... I don't want to be too mean, but a lot of it is concert fodder. It's like music they made so they could play it at their Hella Mega tour. But it's not really groundbreaking. It's not... I don't know, it doesn't push their mold or sound, which is fine. It's Weezer. They don't even have a sound. They don't need to. And frankly, I'm okay with them just making some dumb rock songs without a big premise. But it doesn't mean I gotta rank it high. Blue Dream is it's painful. A couple of the Van Weezer songs, if you go look for their demo versions, because they're songs that existed years ago, but you just never finished them, or they're demos. Some of them are like Everything Will Be Alright demos. One, Blue Dream is originally Ballad of the Briny. If you want a more Eobite sound, listen to that. It's not like way better, it's still pretty simple, but at least they didn't just rip off Crazy Train for its melody. Yeah, I've heard Rock and Roll Cockroach as well. Best car seat headrest album. Oh, that's easy. Twin Fantasy. The remade version of it. The 2011's a little wonky. I liked Teams of Denial, but it's a little underproduced. I don't remember, like, I don't know what their newest album's name was. I've listened to it. Ooh. The last thing they put out I'm kind of digging, but I need to give it a second listen for my real opinion. And whatever they did before that, I didn't really care about. And I know they have an older album or two, but I don't remember the names. Ow. Oh. Glitch. regular. Yeah, I'm proud of my OC, which is unfortunately what it's called. We need to remember I don't have to teleport. I keep instinctively trying to teleport with it. Good. Sort of hop. Help this wave. Let me do it. The thing about Car Seat Headrest is their melodies are so fun and catchy, but then you try and like really listen to their songs, and the more you pay attention, the more you can tell like it's a little off tune, and it can start to bother you on secondary listens. Like, it doesn't mind me, but like, it doesn't have to be like this. Killer West. Great song, but they sing it like 8 times. 17 times. Not 16, it's one extra. And it's, I don't know, it's just, it has a charm to it. Car Seat Headrest is sort of, it's like, it's well produced, but it still kind of has that garagey vibe. I would call it a plus. But that's an observation I've had. I can be your rock god when you're falling close. Love it. I've yet to go down like a Car Seat Headrest rabbit hole. Usually what I end up doing with bands is I listen to like their big band, then I eventually, once I've listened to all their discography, I look up the individual band members, find their bands, listen to those. Once I've listened to those, I'll listen to their solo work. I do that with all my favorite bands. I've not done that with Car Seat yet, if there's even stuff to find. But like Feed Me Jack, Weezer, Ozma, all of them, like I have chased them down the rabbit hole of history trying to listen to all their work. I found some of my favorite musicians. Like Neutral Milk Hotel. Once I listened to them, that's how I found Olivia Tremor Control. Another great band. Jeff Mangum did drums for them. And a little bit of vocals. Plus he has some solo work, just a little bit. I mean, yeah, I know the whole Elephant Six, Elf Power. There's another one I'm blanking on. They made Baroque. That song Baroque, can't remember the name. Or if that was Elf Power. I fucking love of Montreal. I haven't gone down that way. If there's anything. This might be sort of niche, but my favorite of Montreal album is probably Cherry Peel. It's like a 98 acoustic. Which is a weird choice for them, because they have a lot of cool, fun, experimental albums. But I can't even remember the names of any of them, because they're so weird and experimental. They don't, like, have super iconic, memorable names. Also, yeah, they have a lot of albums. If you like the B-sides of Pinkerton, again, weird suggestion. Listen to Cherry Peel by Of Montreal. If you like the acoustic Weezer songs, that's why I got into them. Or at least that album. They change a lot, but that album like had very sort of acoustic Weezer demo vibes. Does Jeff Mangum drive a Dodge Magnum? No, he strikes me as the kind of person that travels solely by horseback. Or like nomad style. I don't think he even knows what a car is. I don't think they were invented yet when he was born. Or at least when he believes he was born. I think he still thinks it's 1948. Jeff Mangum just gives me very, like, hobo, like, hermit hobo in the woods kind of vibes, but the cool kind. Like, the really wise, eccentric one. Head's always in the clouds kind of thing. I wish he'd make more stuff. I miss him. I don't think he's done, like, anything. Yeah, he's a very, like, solitary artist, and I respect that. He's got the right to. Plus, he's getting older now. I think he's, like, getting towards his 50s. It's not like it's the 90s when he was really active. Or relatively active. But it would blow my mind if he just popped up one day with something. Anything. I don't feel like he could handle it. Because, like, Neutral Milk Hotel blew up when the internet was created, but when he was really a musician, he was still pretty kind of underground. Just a random indie folk guy. I mean, he had some recognition, but like Black Foliage isn't exactly world renowned. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jeff Mangum kind of used the resurgence of Neutral Milk Hotel as sort of like a, I don't know, an anxious thing. Like, if I was him, I wouldn't know how to deal with that. Music I made 20 years ago is suddenly like cult classic. And they all want me back. What do I do? Like, what if his tastes have changed? What if, like, he did just... I kind of know for a fact they have, in a way. I mean, now, they haven't changed. He put out this 30-minute, like, Bolivian throat music in, like, 2014 or something. Just this weird chanting music. And I say that his tastes have changed, but that totally sounds like something Jeff Mangum would have made. So, never mind. Got two health shields. He's the indie folk Frank Ocean. First time in my life I've ever heard him described that way. Yeah, sure. I was talking about Jeff Mangum from Neutral Milk Hotel. And how he's just sort of hiding now. He's just gone. But his music blew up a while after he made it. Just wonder how that affects him. So. I feel bad when I find an artist I fall in love with and they never really got the recognition they deserved. I love that Still Woozy from Feed Me Jack. He absolutely popped off. He's like an iconic name in hip-hop. He's one of the best, quite frankly, like current artists going. But so, like some of the other artists are still really under the table. Red 26, they're not like crazy. I mean, they haven't put out that much. They put out 2 songs. Earth vs. Mars and Douchebags that I really like. The rest of their album is a shitpost. In fact, I want to show you guys some Red 2-6 songs. So this is, I think 2 of the members might have been in Feed Me Jack, one of my favorite bands of all times. And here's the kind of music they're making now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh wow, wow. Oh yeah, oh yeah, wow, wow.
It gets better.
Oh yeah, wow, wow.
Made him some toast. I'm about to cook up some bacon. Made him some toast.
Oh yeah.
That's just one of the songs off of this album. Here's another favorite of mine. It's called Fast Beef. It's a band called Red 2-6. This is the whole song, guys. But oh yeah, they have a band. They have a song called Balls.
There was a basketball. There was a tennis ball. There was a baseball too.
I have no idea what this album is supposed to... But here's the crazy thing. This album has songs like this.
No.
Fucking bangers. The first 2 songs on this are insane bangers. On the same album is this. I have no idea what this band is.
Come on. Bananas, apples, sprouts, cauliflower.
I'm sorry, I love it so much. If you ever need a headache, look up that band. This song, yeah, it's about produce. You know, while I'm here, one more. Shackleford Banks is pretty good. I ask you why.
I ask you why.
This is the kind of music I listened to since Feed Me Jack broke up. I ask you why. That's stuck in my head, like, permanently. I don't bring it up all the time, but I'll just... Whenever something I don't understand happens in my head, I go... Shackleford Banks. Shackleford Banks. I recommend the first 2... Oh, shit. That was Wave 7, wasn't it? First 2 songs, Earth vs. Mars and Douchebags by Red 2-6. Genuine bangers. The rest of the album, it's a laugh. Good night, this guy. Bye-bye. There's another, I won't talk about bobbing. But there's a lot of examples of just artists I think deserve more credit that just don't get it. Pow. Kind of cheese it. You can stand in front of them and just hit them by 1 pixel. But even then, it's kind of hard. feel like everyone has that. Just band you love that you want people to know about. You feel like they deserve it. Felt that way about Ovens, but pulled a bunch of their music from streaming platforms. You can't even listen to their best stuff easily. Listen through YouTube like a Neanderthal. Come on, let me see that big old red orb of yours. I feel like this game should have another ability. I don't know why. It's good. It's got more than enough, but it feels like I only have like 3 abilities. I guess there's power in simplicity. Hugging the wall. I'm still working on the Georgia voting video. My soul still wants to make it, but I don't know the presentation yet. It's like a very big topic. I've done more research on it, so I'm a bit more educated about it, but to be honest, I'm just kind of scared to make that kind of video. You know, I'm good at making video game videos, and I trust my ability. I know I could make a video talking about real-world politics. For those who don't know, I live in Georgia, and it's a hellscape for voter rights. They keep minimizing voter rights. They made it illegal to hand people in line to vote water. It's illegal to hydrate in line or to help them. Some people are in line for up to 5 hours. The voting process itself is extremely difficult. They made it harder to vote on Sundays, and there's a lot of Sunday go to the polls church events that happen that are now can't happen because can't on Sundays. On top of that, just a lot of voter reform that makes it hard to vote, with intent to minimize certain demographics of people that don't vote in the interests of those in power that they don't want going to the polls. If you live in like a higher wealth class area, like predominantly white, it's much easier to vote than if you live closer to the city or in a place that's less funded. And it's very intentionally designed. On top of that, there's been a lot of really sketchy shit that's happened at previous elections. I'm talking like votes being thrown out, numbers being skewed to favor certain people. A lot of really bad stuff, and I want to address it in a video, but I've never made that kind of video before, talking about real-world politics. I don't want to do it wrong, and I don't want to be divisive per se, but I don't like. There's very clearly a bias, a side involved. So how do you talk about that without explicitly just saying who's trying to suppress the votes of who? How do you say it in a way that the people that need to hear it won't disregard it? Especially when you're a gaming YouTuber, and when it comes to politics, people want you to stay in your lane. You know, like, I don't want to make this and people just say, oh, a gaming YouTuber talked about his politics. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So I want to have my due diligence on the subject. That's a good point, Seppi. Talking about politics is, in itself, something that could set off YouTube. It could affect my channel, how my channel gets views. You know, potentially for worse if it's like, because it's a controversial subject. What happens if YouTube, you know, shadow blacklists me from certain, I don't know, algorithms just because it's safer for them. So I'm being really cautious right now on what I do. Plus, I haven't been uploading anyways. I figured at the very least if I'm going to upload, maybe just put a couple, you know, make the gaming videos I know I'm going to make anyways. Get active again once I'm more comfortable. I understand YouTube a bit more in the modern day. Done a bit more research on the subject. Maybe then I can make the video. Or if nothing else, you know, maybe find a different way to show it. Like, I don't want to go and make a new channel just for one video, especially because less people can see it. But I need to be, I want to be careful about using my main channel. But there's also an internal struggle because I feel like it's important. I love making the gaming videos, it's important to me, but I think political stuff is important to society itself. Even if it's not doing anything, it's having a conversation, it's talking about it. And I think there's value in that. So for me to not make the video feels equally sort of unfair. Like I have a platform, I could use it to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. Not everyone might agree or understand it, but it's important to me, you know? That's kind of just the riddle, or that's just the challenge I am tackling right now as a creator. How do I use my platform? How do I branch out? And how much do I want to? It's not that I want to turn into a political YouTuber that covers the big topics to me. I like just having dumb video game videos, but I'm multifaceted. I want to talk about other stuff too. I can do that on Twitch, no issue, because things are 3-4 hours long. I can talk about a dozen topics, and you might be here for it, you might be not, but the conversation eventually changes. But with a YouTube channel, each video is its own thing. It has its own effect on your channel. It gets sent to other people. It leaves a lasting impression. There are bigger consequences for YouTube, you know? I can turn down the in-game audio. I didn't know if it was like too loud or anything. Let me know if that's good. Ring-a-ding-ding. Yeah, legendary. When I make... If and when I make that kind of video, I'll definitely be upfront about it. Like, I'm not just gonna be like, no context, here's a political video. I'm gonna preface it with, hey, I know I make video games, but this is important to me and I've done my research on it. But that's really only part of the solution. Still a lot to do. Thanks for the subs, Seeknor. I do appreciate the movement of this game. It's pretty unique. Like you can, oh, that's creepy. Like you can build up speeds with a single jump. but you can also kind of do precise teleporting. But haven't felt something like this before. Like, there's games with grappling hooks, but you always have to grapple a wall. Nothing that's just free-handed. Uh-oh. Gonna get rid of the static stuff first. Uh-oh. I'm down both my HP bars now. On the last wave. And I got no HP to heal off of, so if I take one shot, I'm dead. Gotta be something. Oh shit, that could have been bad. Gotta be really careful with that teleport. Alright, I'm gonna try hard for a moment. Any plans for that alchemy game? Oh, I fucking loved potion craft. Yeah, 100% I'm gonna play more of that. I played the demo, so I'm waiting on the release, but the release is in 2021. So when that game comes out, I'm 100% playing it again. And honestly, I'd recommend it to people. It might not be everyone's game, but it's a very fun, sort of lax. Not even idle, like it's very active. But yeah, I'm going to be playing more of it. I loved it. I'm hoping they take some of the feedback I gave them. Want to organize my inventory and maybe a bit more with the, I don't know, like the move. They could do more with the like moving around system. I don't know, like you could mix different plants in the pestle and mortar for different effects. They could do some cool stuff with that game. Also, I beat it. Yay. Can't break the pots. Got some beautiful ant statues here. I think that's an ant. Maybe it's a... those things that eat their mate after having sex. A praying mantis. Maybe it's one of those. After you've died the amount of times I have, there's not much to pop off about. You're just happy you're not stuck in that room anymore. I get a sigh of relief more than I do a rush of adrenaline. Blaze unlocked. That is bullshit. Blaze, get 3 kills without landing, then touch the ground or an enemy. Does this not count? Okay. It's 1:30 a.m. I thought I would be able to beat this game in like 2.5 hours. I don't know if I want to really commit to beating the rest of it tonight. because I started at like, what, 10? It's been like 3.5 hours. I'll scope out the next area, but I might call it shortly. Unless it's like the final level. This is unlikely, but does anyone here know how far I am in Boomerang X? Like, if I happen to be on the last level. I'm gonna assume not, but I might as well ask, see if anyone knows. Also, thanks, X Chris. It's not like it's comparable to Ultra Kill in that it's hyper mobile, and you know you're fighting stuff in interlocked rooms. So, sort of, but it's not gun based, and it's more airborne than Ultra Kill. Ultra Kill is way more ground based. You have a few more stages, maybe like 4. Okay. Either way, I'm gonna assume I'm not done yet, and I think I'm gonna call it here instead of completing this room. A lot of sexy mantises around, but I'm not gonna let that tempt me. 1:30 a.m. I'm not looking to go till 2, so I'm about to head off. Thank you anyone that stopped by, chatted, talked, or whatever. I'll finish this. I'm not totally sure if I'll finish it today, tomorrow, on Wednesday, because I have D&D at 9 o'clock, and I'm working just on video stuff in the day. So if you don't see me later tonight, you'll probably see me on Thursday. Take care.